What's up, guys? David here, and welcome to the Fit Pro Daily. Today, we've got another guest interview, and we have Shaun. I don't know, where are you based, Shaun?
Bracknell, Berkshire.
Okay, yeah. This is it. When we're talking online and we're communicating with other people, we don't really know sometimes where we're actually based. Yeah, so it's always good to kind of find out where people come from. So today is going to be quite an interesting one. We're going to talk a little bit about self-development and switching from PT to online, because it seems like it's been a big thing recently. A lot of people kind of wanting to move away from PT to online. So I think this one will get a lot of the self-development stuff and also front-end experience of how easy it actually is to go from a decent PT to a decent online business. So first of all, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me, David.
No problem at all. So the first question we always ask everybody is, how did you get started in the fitness industry?
Initially started from getting a PT myself. So my background is ice hockey. From the age of 16, I was pro. Didn't really have a clue anything on training, nutrition, nothing. You don't get that support in the ice hockey world. It's not kind of big enough like football. It got to the point where I just said, enough's enough. I have to do something about this, because otherwise this is going to go nowhere. And I took on a local PT, and it wasn't long where I was like, wow, like I can see how this not only relates to what I want to achieve, but how I could actually help other ice hockey players, because it just wasn't a thing. There was just nobody in there helping other people. I saw incredible results, and kind of at that point was out of work. So I was like, okay, well, I'll go and do my course. And just from the course, I did premier training in Windsor. They were unbelievable. Like I just fell in love with the whole concept of it. And then that's just developed over time, from moving from sports performance to more fat loss specific, and then to kind of where I'm at now.
So who did you used to play for?
A few teams. So Bracknell, Basingstoke, had a spell in Manchester and Hull, a little bit in Nottingham. So yeah, been about a little bit.
Oh, really? It's only like the last couple of weeks me and Holly have been going to watch Cardiff Devils. Apparently they're like one of the best teams in the UK, which I've no idea about. Yeah, so
I did wonder. I thought there might have been a link there, but no. Yeah, they are. They're a fantastic setup. I got a good few friends playing on that team at the minute. So I had a spell against them back in the day. But yeah, I've been retired 2 years now.
Oh, really? Yeah. So what was that decision to kind of move into the fitness industry world once you kind of were going to hang up your skates, I'm guessing?
Yeah, that is the actual term. Yeah. It was, I finished my career semi-pro. So it was still 2 games at the weekend and 2 trainings at nighttime in the week. So I was PT and playing, and it was kind of like a 50-50 split. A big part of it, I lost the love for the game. Been playing since I was 5, pro since 16. It was just a lot of it. And I had a young family. My youngest at the time was not quite 1, and I was missing a lot of time. So even though it was semi-pro, it was still trips up to Sheffield, Telford, longish journeys. You'd lose the whole day, lose the whole weekend. And then, that was a big chunk of it, was the family side of it. And then I think that just led to the loss of love of the commitment side. But knowing I had the PT to fall back onto, it was kind of an easy break financially, because I had a full-time job in a sense.
Yeah. So let's kind of dive into doing a work and a PT career at the same time, because there's going to be people watching or listening to this now who are kind of in that same situation. Maybe they've got a full-time job and they're PTing at the same time. What kind of hints and tips have you got to really maximize your PT business while also still working full-time?
Yeah, it's tough, but it's something I've always done. Even early days PT, I was still gym instructing. Then I worked for another fitness company that did like kids fitness. So a lot of it was kind of like what they say, hands in different pots or whatever, just to try and bring that income. And it's tough because I didn't realize where my PT business could go until I gave it the full attention.
Okay. Yeah.
I was playing semi-pro, performing like a professional. So there wasn't much free time. But when I decided to start working on the self-development, the biggest asset was reading. I hated reading at school, absolutely hated it. Like, my parents would laugh every time we went past the bookstore and said, look, you're going to pass out in a minute. But buying into that and reading little and often, so it was like just 10 pages at a time or a chapter at a time, was a huge game changer in building my knowledge. And that's what that was the key bit I introduced in the latter part of my playing career, was more reading. So when I was on the coach, there would be more reading or articles or YouTube, because it was an easy way to kill time and not just kind of stare into thin air or watch the same film on the coach that you'd watch 10 times that season.
Yeah. So for the people then who maybe are doing the face-to-face PT and the online PT, which we're going to talk about in a minute, you're saying basically you should either do one or the other. The more you can dedicate one time to one option, the better and the quicker that aspect of the business is going to grow.
Yeah, definitely. I've had a couple of coaches over the past couple of years, and they do tell you to bring that tunnel vision in. It's very easy to kind of get caught up in this wide perspective and think of lots of things, but to really master something, you've got to have your eyes on that one process or that one program or that one topic at a time. And it works. I can never remember the saying. It's like master of one and something. I can never remember what it goes like, but it's so true. It's you can do it, and I do understand why people work a full-time job and then PT on the side. But what they'd have to realize at some point is, well, what do you want to achieve? And if the answer is you want to be a full-time PT, you've got to take that jump at some point, as much as it's difficult because you've got financial and bills and stuff to pay. If you want to truly excel, attention has to be on one main area.
So the $1 million question on that specific side of things, when is the right time to jump from full-time employed for somebody else to full-time running my fitness business?
Yeah, I guess ultimately it comes down to finances, right? Because if you make the jump and it doesn't work, and then you can't pay bills, it doesn't work out. The only thing I could suggest on somebody on that side is making sure that if you've got a small clientele and it's really working and you are fearful, is then get those prices up on those current clients, which will then obviously return feeling more comfortable with financial to get that jump. But I think you're going to know, like, if you're doing a good job, you're going to have lots of people reaching out to you, wanting to work with you. And yeah, I think it's going to be a financial position that that you can cover your main part of your bills and still eat and things like that. Because at the same time, nobody wants to be struggling. But yeah, kind of, in a sense, my hand got forced in mine because I decided to retire and step away rather than knowing that the time was right. So I knew I needed to distance myself from the old person that I was trainer-wise, which was just turn up for a PT session, try and not fall asleep, and go home, to actually creating a purposeful business with a vision.
Yeah. Okay. So let's kind of skip to the point of somebody's doing PT and they're seeing a lot of people doing well with the online, or maybe you've just qualified as a PT and your vision is just to go online from day one. What are the big things that people really don't consider when it comes to becoming an online fit pro?
It's a lot bigger than you may realize. I do find PT is, for most, and to start off with, it is a lot about exercise and nutrition. You've got to understand that side first. When it comes to online, you've got a different area of stuff that even don't link directly to what you're doing. Sales and marketing, communication, copywriting is a big skill, which I enjoy doing, but also is very, very difficult. So they always say you're your own competition, but you have to be realistic. Online, there is a lot more competition than, for instance, myself in the local Bracknell area as a trainer. So it's a huge stepping stone. I used to think online coaches were lazy. And I do apologize to every online coach I ever put under that bracket, because I thought PT was the ultimate. I thought you had to be in the gym and you had to be doing it. And people that stepped away from it, I'm like, oh, they just don't want to be here. They just don't want to put in the time and the effort. I was completely wrong. I do apologize, completely wrong. Because there is a lot of work you've got to do and also get people to buy in to what they truly need, which isn't squats and skipping and ropes. You know, it's some people, it's a deeper conversation. Even problems that potentially go back to childhood, like you had to clean your plate, and how you were raised in a certain way. There's so many elements to getting results online, and it takes time. So patience and, you know, progression is very, very important.
Okay, so the going online, I'd love to go online. Now I hear somebody, they're doing Zoom sessions 10 times a day, or maybe they're doing Zoom sessions with one-to-one clients. Or we had Tim Drummond on the other day who was doing a 12-week coaching program for like £3,000. You've obviously been doing online for a little bit now, and you have a good idea of maybe a few of the options, which is generally the easiest option if you actually wanted to get started online.
Yeah, first off, Tim's video was awesome. Loved it. Really good chat, that one. But I think a really good entry point, and it's really easy to set up, is like a subscription plan. You know, like Facebook groups are free. You can create a Facebook group. You can create a challenge. Remember, a lot of the time when you start out as a PT, you've got to get your testimonials. You've got to get your reviews. You've got to get your results. Because that's what people go by. Like, you could enter the PT world and charge high rates. If you can provide a reason why you can charge that rate, you don't have to come in at what the lowest PT is in your local area. I think a lot of people get misconceived. They try and battle on prices rather than actually standing out from the crowd. So, you know, if you did want to come straight on, I would say you've still got to get results. So you may, you may offer 5 people a free challenge, and get the results. We're talking like absolute starting PT here. Like, if you're a bit further down the line, and you've got your results from your reviews, then you would kind of just be selling, look, I can do this. But I think a nice monthly subscription plan proving what you can do on like a private Facebook group where you offer support and lives is great. I don't really like online workouts. I think if you're going to do workout, go and get a face-to-face PT and have that human interaction, because it's a lot harder online. It's okay, but I think optimally, if you want the exercise assistance, go get a face-to-face PT. But moving online, yeah, something like a free Facebook group where you show what you can do.
Nice. Okay. So how important is it online then? So like DK9 is an over 30 studio. How important is it online to have a specific target audience to work with?
Yeah, it's important. I've learned the hard way. You know, first off, I was trying to save the world. It isn't going to happen. One really good thing and really good advice I've come across over the past few months or so, some of you may have heard of things like avatars. What's your avatar? Who's your perfect client? Well, ultimately, you are your perfect client. Your process and your journey is that type of person you're looking for. So I call my prospect clients, I call them disheartened dieters. The people that have dieted hard, multiple diets, and they just feel like there's no answer. They've tried everything. Nothing is going to work for them, because that's exactly where I was at. You know, some people know my story. I was 20 pounds heavier as a professional ice hockey player, because a lot of it was due to sleep that led to overeating. I would try and reduce my calories in the week, and then I would consume way over 10,000 at the weekend, just trying to survive the games. And just like those whole pack of Haribo sweets, I'd crush those in a game. And it was just that vicious cycle that I couldn't break. And that's the people I want to work with. That's the people that I want to help. Is it as niche down as to someone like yourself with kind of like the 30s? Not quite. But again, if you're trying to find the perfect person that you can relate to, that's where you get your best results as well.
Nice. Okay. So we've kind of covered the ground basement, like to really get started with online. So let's say people have got an online side to their actual fitness business going now. When did you know the right time to transition across from PT to actually becoming a proper online coach?
So my hand got forced. I wanted to go online before lockdown. Lockdown forced that hand. Like, you've got to go, and you've got to go now. So that's what I first started with. I started with a free, not a free challenge. It was an entry price challenge. So X amount, and the winner would win a big chunk of money. It was unbelievable. I couldn't believe how well it went. And then that allowed me time and my web developer to create a members only platform, so that it could actually be a bigger project than just a Facebook group. That was kind of the slow build up. But what I started doing, which I didn't realize at the time, how much of a big effect that was going to have, is I was offering free 30-minute calls. I was doing it to help people in lockdown, just as a free giveaway. And I was like coming out of these calls with this huge excitement and buzz, and people were like writing testimonials on like a 30-minute call. I'm like, this is insane. Like, that person is actually going and doing that work. And then you just start building, like, oh my God, people do this as a service. People sell business coaching and behavior change coaching and things like that online, and just returning incredible results. So after those first few clients, once I had set up the package, the return was insane in not only the result the client was getting, but how I was feeling about that result as well. And in a way, how effortless it was. I was giving my knowledge and they were using it, which can be quite unusual for somebody who does PT, because you kind of have somebody come in doing a workout with you. You tell them about their food diary. You tell them about, why are you overeating? But that goes astray, whether because they're fatigued from the session or it's just not what they're buying into. So yeah, the forcing of the hand just opened up this incredible door for me.
Nice. Okay. So we've decided we are going to go online. We kind of know the model, we know the audience, we know like now's the good time to really go for online. The big question for everybody is, how do you actually find clients? How do you find somebody that wants to train with you online?
Yeah, it's tough, and for anybody that is watching, I have got a lot of growth to do. There is a lot of more work and things to go with it. A lot of it's what I find that you're insane at. We just said how busy have you been before we came on, is the consistency with the content. You've got to get the right content out, but you do have to be consistent with your messaging, because a lot of times with clients is they won't come to you straight away. It could be 6 months, it could be 12 months later. It's like a lot of the time when you're putting out content, it's a seed that grows. So consistency is important. Multiple platforms. You've got to have one which you love. I love Instagram. But at the same time, it doesn't mean you can't be on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, stuff like that. You've got to be active in a lot of areas. But one thing that I've figured out over the last year or so is how key email marketing is. I used to poo-poo email marketing, like I used to call online coaches lazy. Email marketing didn't work because I didn't open emails. But that was just me. Doesn't mean that other people aren't opening emails and still reading your messaging, what you're trying to get across to people. And it's another access point, because as we all know, we scroll and we may not see some content. Even though that content was made for you, you may not see it. So if you consistently put that message out, eventually you're going to catch that person. And if the messaging is good enough, the copywriting is good enough, they will love what they see and they'll want to talk and they'll want to buy into the program.
Nice. Okay. So we've covered all the basics there. Now let's move into a little bit more of self-development. As a gym owner, as a PT, as a boot camp owner offline, you have to be at your session 10, 15, 20 minutes before. You stay in there 10, 20 minutes afterwards. You have to be in a certain place at a certain time to get the client's results, so to be there for your clients. Whereas when you're online, like you say, you might be giving them coaching programs, or you might just have to send a couple of messages, but there's no real time. There's no like deadlines and stuff. How do you keep yourself motivated and keep turning up to make sure you keep actually scaling and not just kind of like almost like hit a brick wall where you just kind of stagger for a long time?
Yeah, so ultimately what I work with my clients on that is a vision statement. It's the absolute ultimate goal, the dream goal. When a lot of people dream about something, they want the lovely house or they want a fast car, etc. It's making that more purposeful. It's not just saying you want that stuff. It's actually really wanting stuff. So what I get, a lot of my clients, I can never remember the app it's called, but they create like a vision board. So anytime something comes up, they put it on the vision board. So it could be like a sofa that they want in their house, you know, a landscape that they want in their house, their perfect partner. Once you create that bigger vision, so for me, what ultimately I'm looking for is financial freedom for my family. And that excites me, being able to create that freedom for us, which, you know, if you want to go on holiday, where do you want to go? If you want to go for dinner, where do you go? It doesn't matter, because that, you know, that money is readily available. And that excites me and that gets me up. And what I do then to break it down is I came across in the self-development a thing called a power list, which brings your attention to the most 3 to 5 important tasks to do every day. And they get done before everything else. And then that then kind of moves that needle forward daily. Little baby steps, that patience, team tortoise and all that, little baby steps that leads eventually one day that vision will be hit. You've just got to kind of be patient for it.
Yeah. And that is the thing. So the power list, 3 to 5 things. You don't need to disclose your own, but what are those 3 to 5 things that most people should really be putting on that list that they have to get done first, especially as an online coach?
Yeah, so if we're talking purely business, because it can be used for health or even just family and friends, it can be used as a social element as well if you've got a poor social life. But if we're talking purely business, it's any task that moves the needle forward. So for instance, one thing that is regularly on there at the minute, because it's not consistent for me, is direct messaging, sending out messages to hot leads, warm leads, or sometimes you have to do the cold stuff, but that's generally, I find that stuff is new connections on LinkedIn. I kind of see who is in my local area, maybe look at their job role or something that they've been following, and then you just reach out and start communicating and again planting more seeds. So, you know, for example, send out 20 DMs, create one piece of content, specific content to clients. You know, it could be anything like that, but what it is, it's an achievable task that you're not currently doing. Okay, a lot of people get confused and overwhelmed and think the solutions to your problems are bigger than the problem itself. They're not. So even if you're not sending any messages, put down, send one message. That's an achievable task you're not currently doing. Then it can go to 2 and onwards. Yeah, and it's just keeping it as simple as it can. As long as it's something you're not doing, which means you've improved from yesterday, that's powerful. That is taking you a step forward in the direction you want to go.
Okay, one thing that you mentioned earlier, which I despise doing, just like you, is reading. I really don't like reading, but what is the purpose? How can reading or whatever else really change your business?
Knowledge is unending. It just never ends. You can continue to learn, you know, on and on. And I had such a big period of not learning. Like for me, I was okay at school, but I had to work for it. So until like 2-3 years ago, where I came across a podcast called the MF CEO. It's a bit Marmite. He's, I like him, but he's a bit of a potty mouth, but very motivational. And he spoke about,
MF, what would you say it was called?
MF CEO. I won't say what it stands for. He'll tell you if you listen to it. But basically, he tells you that you're the CEO of your life. That's what he's saying. And yeah, so he talks about reading 10 pages a day. So keeping it really simple. And once the 10 pages over, you stop, or if you've got the flow, keep going, but it's a minimum 10. And you can even strip that back as far as you want. But, when I first started, I was like, I don't like reading, but I'm going to give it a go. Hundreds of books later, you just get into this flow. One person recommends one, or your friends send you one or something, and you just feel it off. So I've gone from self-development to my most recent reading is more psychology based, and it just takes you off in completely different areas and depends what is most important to you at that time.
Okay, so something I wasn't really focusing on, but this might be a good because the way the topic is going, there's going to be lots of business owners watching and listening to this now who kind of like I used to be, and kind of a little bit of how I am now, where no real structure, there's no real plan to the day. I'm guessing from the way you're talking, you have some sort of structure, some sort of way that you have to do certain tasks each day. How did you come up with that type of plan? Or isn't that plan really needed as long as you hit your 3 to 5 power list things?
Yeah, so yeah, less planned. You know, you see a lot of these people with the morning rituals and routines. I've got 2 kids. I've got to do dad stuff, and I've got to do business stuff as well. So for me, it stems from the power list. I just find that's the most easiest thing. When I sit down at this desk, the power list is right there in front of me, and it's go. Okay, what's number 1? Okay, nothing gets done till number 1's done. Tick, 2, 3. So it depends on what's set for the day. I think I only had 4 set for today because that's all I could think of within the time I had. But what I do is I set this the night before. So if I've got a quiet day, there's going to be bigger tasks the next day. If it's very busy, obviously, you know, talking to you today and clients and stuff. So it's a bit more focused orientated tasks that I can get done, but again, achievable that I wasn't currently doing. So yeah, I wouldn't say I'm a huge routine guy. It's just that's the focus, and that's got to get done.
Nice. Okay, so kind of to finish off then, is there anything else on self-development or online coaching or switching to online coaching that you think maybe we haven't covered so far?
In terms of self-development, the biggest thing I come across against is failure. As a lot of people see failure as final. It either paralyzes them or they give it a go and they quit because they've tried it once and it didn't work. Failure is the key to success. You are going to fail. We've failed all of our life at many different things like walking and cycling and swimming. We've constantly failed. But yeah, as we get older, whether because we're kids, we were laughed at because we were talking and we stuttered our words, or we tripped over a bag or something, that we now are not allowed to fail anymore. Whereas actually, if you utilize failure and recognize and learn from it and come back stronger, you will no longer fail at that anymore. That you will become successful and you keep moving forward. But to do that, you've got to try the task. You've got to give it a go. I just did a free challenge last week. The live went insane. The community was insane. I got 0 sales. Was I frustrated? Yes, I was frustrated. I was in my head. These sales were coming in. It went too well to not get any sales. So all I did is, once I'd calmed down, is I sat down and wrote down what went right, what went wrong, what needs improving. So that when I do it again, if it could have been the challenge that was the problem, that I don't make the same mistakes. So next time, even if I get 1 sale, I've made an improvement. So it's just having that patience and understanding that as long as you learn from your failures, then you are going to succeed one day. It just might be a bit longer than you hoped for.
Yeah, because like there's 2 things you basically said there as well. Not only did you create the 5-day event, but you've like you say, you've sown that seed. Now it might just be the wrong time for somebody to buy. But when it comes to January, they're like, oh, I remember that 5-day thing Shaun was doing. I think I'm ready now. Let's reach out to Shaun. So even when you do these type of things and nobody buys, don't feel like it's the end of the world. Sometimes maybe you just need to, like say, reframe it, or that is just you laying the groundwork to a couple of weeks later, those people will actually come on board. So like, don't give up or think like I should never do this again, especially when people do Facebook ads and stuff like that. They put some money in the ads, they spent a $5, they got no leads, give up, it didn't work. It's like, well, maybe you just put them on the wrong time of the day, or maybe the ad copy wasn't strong enough. There's always things that can be tweaked and learned. So yeah, I think that's definitely key. Anything final to finish off?
Just the T word that you use there, timing. Honestly, like the timing, if you look at your life and your investments, do you always jump on the first thing that somebody approaches you? So when you're going and you're having a prospect call or planning call with a client and they say no, it may be the wrong timing. It's the same way it might be the wrong timing for you. You may have a lot of outgoings, or you've paid for a large holiday. you know, you have to understand, as frustrating as it is, because you know that you can help that person, the timing might not be right. So staying engaged with that person, getting them on your mailing list or your free group, just checking in, just having a check-in day with warm leads, you know, and building a relationship, because that's the most powerful thing. Is trust is a hard thing to get online, really hard, because there's no real human connection to allow that trust. So be patient, and again, plant those seeds, love them, water them, give them sunlight, because you never know, it could be the best client you've ever had just in 12 months time.
Nice. So for anybody watching this then who maybe like is quite interested in some of the self-development stuff that you've been talking about, or maybe is now ready to make that leap to the online world, maybe they have a few questions, how could people potentially reach out and have a chat with you?
I am a lover of Instagram, so I'm on there as Taurus_PT. But yeah, if there is anybody that just wants to chat, I'm more than happy to help, because I've gone through the battle, the struggle, mostly by myself all my career. So I know how tough it is to wait. So just don't wait, just reach out. Even if you just want to ask a question, I'm more than happy to help.
Shaun, I appreciate your time today. I'll probably have you on, probably, I don't know, at some point next year again.
Yeah, thank you very much.
No worries. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you, mate.